Long ago, in the quiet valley of Nyaruma, where mist curled around the mountains and the wind carried the scent of wet earth, a child entered the world under unusual circumstances. The night of his birth was calm, but the skies glowed with a faint silver shimmer, as though the moon itself bent lower to witness the moment. The midwives whispered that the child was no ordinary infant, for when he opened his eyes, a soft radiance settled on his tiny arms, as if light lived beneath his skin. Elders, wise and watchful, spoke in hushed tones of ancient prophecies, stories that told of a warrior who would rise in times of uncertainty, born with strength greater than stone, yet carrying a heart gentle enough to guide nations. As the years passed, the boy, now named Kito, grew with astonishing speed. Though young, he lifted weights that grown men struggled with, and when he played with the other children, his strength often surprised everyone. Yet he never misused it. Each time someone fell, he was the first to offer a hand. Each time a child cried, he shared his food, his toys, or his company. Villagers admired him not just for his unusual power, but for a kindness rare even among adults. He spent hours by the riverbank, training under the guidance of an old warrior named Joraji. The elder had once been a fierce protector of the valley, but age had bent his back and slowed his sword. Still, his spirit remained sharp, and he saw in Kito the promise of something extraordinary. Day after day, he taught the young boy discipline, strategy, and control. Kito learned to swing a spear, to block blows with a shield, and to move with the focus of a true warrior. By the time he reached manhood, Kito's reputation had spread beyond Nyaruma. Travelers spoke of a young giant whose arms were said to be as strong as carved granite. Merchants passing through the valley would ask to see him, hoping to witness even a fraction of the strength that had become legend. Kito remained humble, always insisting that he was simply doing what any son of Nyaruma would do, protecting his people. Then, one evening, a stranger arrived in the village, a young woman whose beauty seemed almost otherworldly. She carried herself with quiet grace, her footsteps light, her voice soft and melodic. The villagers welcomed her warmly, and she soon expressed admiration for Kito's noble spirit. With time, she won his trust, and eventually she became his bride. What no one knew was that she carried a secret far heavier than her smile. She had been sent by hidden enemies, men who feared the rise of a warrior with power unmatched. These enemies had studied Kito for years. They knew his strength, but more importantly, they believed they had discovered the weakness that could bring him down. It began subtly. At night, Kito started noticing strange movements in his shadow. When he lifted his arm, the shadow hesitated. When he turned his head, the shadow delayed by a heartbeat too long. Quiet whispers echoed through the darkness, but each time he searched, the night swallowed every sign. The bride comforted him gently, assuring him it was nothing more than exhaustion. But something in her eyes, something faint, something buried, never quite matched her words. Days turned to weeks, and though Kito ignored the signs, the disturbance grew. The villagers began to sense a heaviness in the air, a presence that lingered near Kito but never quite revealed itself. Even Michoraji, wise and steady, felt uneasy. He warned Kito to stay alert, reminding him that every warrior, no matter how strong, carried a vulnerability. The attack came without warning. One night, as the moon hung high and the river shimmered under its light, shadows moved across the valley, silent figures approaching from all directions. Their objective was clear: defeat the stone arm warrior before he reached his full potential. Kito stood at the center of the village, spear in hand, ready to protect his people. His movements were swift and powerful, sending attackers flying with each strike. But with every step he took, his shadow betrayed him. It lagged behind, moved unpredictably, and in the worst moments, it revealed his intentions to the enemy. Spears sliced through the air, shields clashed. The villagers watched in terror as Kito fought harder than ever before, yet every blow he delivered came with resistance, not from the enemy, but from the darkness at his feet. When Kito finally turned toward his bride, seeking comfort in the chaos, the truth became painfully clear. She stood apart from the villagers, her expression cold, her hands glowing with the same eerie darkness that infected his shadow. Her voice, once warm, now carried the sharpness of betrayal. She had been the doorway, the link through which the enemy manipulated his shadow. Still, Kito fought. His heart, loyal and unbroken, refused to surrender. But no warrior, no matter how strong, can win a battle fought against his own shadow. With one final strike to his chest, his strength faltered, his legs weakened, his body stiffened, and slowly, painfully, he turned to stone. The villagers gathered around him, weeping as the glow that once covered his skin faded into cold, unmoving rock. His final expression was peaceful, not defeated, but resolute, as though he chose to remain standing guard even in death. The bride disappeared into the night, her task complete, leaving behind a valley grieving the loss of its greatest protector. But though Kito's body became stone, his story remained alive. Elders retold his bravery to every new generation. Children played near the stone figure, believing he still watched over them. And the villagers learned a deeper truth. Strength is not simply the power of the body, but the clarity to know whom to trust, the courage to stand firm against